Thanks, everybody. It's great to be here. Great to follow up PayPal there, because I think we have some shared themes here. So today, I'm going to talk a little bit about bringing payments on chain, and I'm going to sell you a little on this Metamask debit card that we launched, but think of it as a broader metaphor. I'm not just selling you on a product, so I hope it's useful still, but please use the Metamask debit card as well. So first of all, welcome to DevCon. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Spoilers. You're going to hear about a new L1 or L2 that's increasing throughput and lowering latency. You're probably going to hear something about restaking. I imagine there'll be something about privacy and some other stuff, and that's all great. I don't want to denigrate the contributions to infrastructure and the advancements that are happening, but I have an interesting thought experiment. I'm a little bit of a history fan. And what did Marx say? Like, history happens first as tragedy, second as farce. So let's take a step back a minute and think about what we're actually doing here in blockchain, right? And I have an interesting pop quiz question for you. What are the two most proven cases in blockchain? I guess you could argue that there's like 3 or 4 now. With real-world asset tokenization, we're probably going to see some advances in security, settlement, and reconciliation. I see Swift doing cool stuff with corporate actions. But I think it's easy to say it's payments and lending, right? So as far back as 2011, 2012, you see people doing interesting payment stuff with Bitcoin. As we get more flexible, easy-to-use chains, the introduction of stable coins, and an awesome presentation just now by PayPal about these advances in payments. And I would say definitely since 2020, lending is a totally proven case, not just amongst degens, but a lot of pretty normal people as well, particularly in emerging markets. Now, follow-up, what are the 2 most fundamental financial applications in Mesopotamia? Anybody know? Yeah, they're payments and lending. It's the same answer, right? So I like to think that payments and lending are not features of capitalism. They're emergent properties of civilization. They happen anywhere that you got 2 humans, 3, 4 humans maybe. So these markets in ancient Mesopotamia, they start to do payments and lending. But name a society, they got payments and lending, right? Even the ones you might not think. State communism, the USSR, had payments and lending. Market socialism, Yugoslavia, payments and lending. Mercantilism, payments and lending. The weird libertarian, crazy late 19th century America, payments and lending. Mixed economies, like most of us live today, payments and lending. So it's a question, how come we haven't built that much? It's kind of weird, right? There's all kinds of interesting stuff happening in blockchain, but most of the advances that we need to do, like core payments and lending applications, DeFi, stablecoins, layer 2s, MPCs, a lot of these are from last cycle. Some of them are from 2 cycles ago. So why don't we have 3, 4 billion people doing payments and lending on chain? And I think it gets to a fundamental question of distribution, supply chain, and manufacturing. Everything in the world gets manufactured, goes through a supply chain, and gets distributed, right? So lipstick, bagels, bread, shoes, they get manufactured somewhere, they go through a supply chain, and then they get distributed. When we think about financial services and the manufacturing of financial services, there was an interesting time in the early 2010s, mid-2010s, when fintechs were really big. And no offense to PayPal, because they're even before that. I got to give a shout out to the innovators there. But you think about Venmos and Wises and Clearbanks. What a lot of them were doing was really great work in improving UX, a much more slick user experience, ease of use, maybe some inclusion. But they were still fundamentally building on the manufacturing of finance from the traditional banking rails, the correspondent banking system, the ACH system, et cetera. Then you take a look at what we're doing in DeFi, really interesting stuff. New manufacturing, right? You got collateralized lending pools, DEXs, really cool stuff. But let's be real, a lot of these interfaces look a little Fisher-Price. They're really hard to use. I like to think about dApps. A lot of us love dApps. I'll use dApps, but why are dApps still the preeminent way that people interact with DeFi? When I want to buy a Trek bicycle on Amazon, it doesn't send me to the Trek bicycle website. I buy it on Amazon. So you've got this fintech world that has, I think, pretty good distribution, and then this DeFi world where they're really innovating in manufacturing, but we really haven't wed the two into an experience that is good for real people every day in the real world. So the Metamask card, I think, is a good instance of what we're trying to do to improve that. So what the heck is the Metamask card? I'm going to start by telling you what it isn't, okay? It's not a prepaid card, right? I'm a user. I need a bank account, not a gift card, okay? It's not a top-up, which is functionally just the recurring gift card. I just keep topping up my balance. I'm not really spending with my crypto. I'm selling it and topping up a card balance. It's not a credit card with crypto rewards, which are interesting, but that's just a revolving credit facility where I'm getting ETH back. It's not a custodial card. That works well. But a lot of people don't want to be banked, or more fundamentally, we want to address the people who've been underbanked and neglected by the system. And of course, it's not an on-chain payment account. So what is it? The Metamask card. It is a real debit card. So I always make this example. I got 300 USDC in my EOA. It's Friday. Call up my friend. I say, hey, you want to go for some drinks tonight? He says, nah, man, I'm sorry. I'm flying to DevCon. I go, that's okay, don't worry. I called my wife. I said, do you want to go for dinner tonight? And she says, no, I'm sorry. I'm stuck at work doing TPS reports. I go, oh, okay. I go home. I put on Jerry Maguire. I kick back on the sofa. And not only can I spend my crypto, I can not spend it. I can take that 300 USDC. I can put it into Aave or Beefy or Morpho and start making interest, right? Because I've lent it, right? And that brings us to a really interesting question. I think there's I don't know, there's tens of thousands of financial institutions in the world, maybe like 60. There's only about 420 that actually make money off of payments, right? The rest, does that mean they don't do payments? No. They do them because it's a way to capture the current account of the customer and sell them other financial services. So what is personal banking? What is this thing that we have to deconstruct if we want to have an awesome offering for the underbanked, the unbanked, the neglected, and the people who just don't want to use a traditional bank? I would say there's 5 components. Saving, spending, lending, credit, and rewards. All right, so think about this. Saving, spending, lending, credit, and reward. You want to say it with me? Saving, spending, lending, credit, rewards. Okay, saving. I need a place to save my money. Spending. I want to spend the money that I've saved. Lending. I want to get interest on my savings. Credit. I want to take out loans on my savings. And rewards. I want rewards for my spending, lending, or savings. So how do we deconstruct this in MetaMask with the card, right? Spending, easy. I want to spend anywhere that MasterCard's accepted, and you can now do that with the MetaMask debit card. That's the basis. That's the payment. Then we think about savings. All right, so I want spendables with my MetaMask card that are in every currency in the world, every real-world commodity. I want native rebasing ones, which, by the way, then becomes a savings account. I don't know about you all, not just the underbanked. In the U.S., most advanced banking system in the world, I can't use a debit card with an interest-bearing account. Those are 2 separate accounts. We want to marry those. So we got saving. Lending and credit are really 2 sides of the same coin, right? One goes out, one goes in. But when you think about it, with this card now, married with the DeFi system that MetaMask both inhabits and enables, somebody can motion to the ecosystem that they are a Sybil-resistant KYC account with a spending history. So they deserve a better experience. In lending, that could mean preferential rewards. And in credit, that can mean really cool stuff like under-collateralized loans. That can mean automatic repayment, better terms, et cetera. And then, of course, via rewards, I think with stables, foundations, and different DeFi properties, we can design the best reward system in the game, par none, without neglecting the kind of 5% off at LVMH or Shake Shack that you're looking for. So, hope you all use this card. But to step back for a moment, we've deployed it on the Linea network, and I want to talk a little bit about that. And you would say, why? Well, it's just a consensus property. But no, I think there's some fundamental reasons that we're using Linea for payments. Number one, outside of payments, we want to design this personal banking experience. And of course, we're one of the top probably 4 DeFi L2s. But when you think about the payment fundamentals, Linea has real finality. It has a 2-second execution delay, which is really important because it's better than the status quo. They talked a little bit before about the Society for Worldwide Interbank Telecommunications, Financial Telecommunications. I worked there for 6 years. I was the head of payments innovation there. And I will say that payments are messy. They're multi-legged. And you cannot have optimistic fraud proofs on a multi-legged payment. That's fine for an atomic swap. That's fine for buying an NFT. But imagine a 4-legged payment in the correspondent banking system. If you put one leg in the blockchain, if you could ever roll back a block or a blob with an optimistic fraud proof, that's really problematic because the next 2 legs could be settled over RTGS, SWIFT, et cetera. And these payments are worth $1 billion, right? And also, the entirety of the banking industry has been trying to move from 3-day settlement to 2-day settlement or real-time payments. You can't go to them and say, you know what, I take this big risk, move everything to the blockchain. I'm going to offer you 7-day settlements. I'm sorry, that's worse. It's got to be real no execution days, real finality. Then, of course, of the ZKVMs, Linea is Ethereum equivalent, so you can use the same engineers, same knowledge, same code base, same opcodes, same bytecodes. You can leverage existing innovation by borrowing from popular DeFi protocols with audited code bases. And of course, it's rare. I think at the moment there's only 2 Ethereum equivalent ZKVMs, and that is Linea and Scroll. And then, of course, we've got the distribution. MetaMask has got more than 100 million users using Linea, which we've optimized MetaMask for Linea. Besu, the client, which is the most popular Ethereum client for banks is actually maintained by Consensus as part of the Hyperledger Foundation, but our engineers maintain it, so we've optimized it for Linea. Infura, popular node as a service, optimized for Linea. And then outside of like this card stuff, if you want to do wholesale payments, et cetera, we are working with folks like Layer 0 to build a Swift connector so you can send a normal MT103 or PAX payment message and instruct the movement of funds on chain. And then finally, I think few L2 teams have the experience with working with like real financial institution applications like Consensus. We've undertaken major projects with JP Morgan, MasterCard, UBS, SocGen, the DTCC, HSBC, et cetera. And of course, payments in practice. The card's been live since August, and all kinds of Europeans and British people are tapping and paying straight out of their Metamask. So I think I have a challenge for everyone. We should build new cool L1s, L2s. We should do cool far out frontier stuff and keep moving forward. But I think we can innovate and be immediately useful. So 4 asks for the audience, and I'll hang around after if anyone wants to talk. Number 1, try out the Metamask card. It's cool. Portfolio.metamask.io/card. Try it out. It'll render the card sign up if you're in EU and UK, because that's where we're issuing now. So while you're here, you won't see it. If you're back home and you're one of those countries, you'll see it. Otherwise, sign up for the wait list, because we have other countries coming very soon. Next month, there's a few. You'll see. Secondly, as we build this Ubank system with the Metamask card, if you work with a stablecoin property like PYUSD, we'd love to collaborate with PayPal there. If you work with a DeFi property and lending, we would love to find ways that we can build that like under collateralized loans. We can make your stablecoin spendable. We can make tokenized commodities spendable, et cetera. Number 3, reach out to Metamask for other payments concepts outside of the card. We really want to make this useful for folks. And number 4, if you're going to build in payments, why not build on Linea? Reach out to us for that. So I hope I didn't sell you too much. I hope some of this was a little bit useful outside of use the Metamask card. And just thank you again. Wonderful to be here. Hope you have a wonderful DevCon, and thank you.